My name is Wendy Hollander, and I am a botanical artist.
We're going to work with these polychromo pencils today, and first thing I want you to do is pick up the dark sepia pencil, which you've all sharpened to a really nice point. And we're going to lay down our first layer of tone with the dark sepia to kind of describe the three-dimensional quality of the sphere. And then if I want, I can put a little bit more dark, but not too much yet, because the beauty of these pencils is you're going to go back and forth and change your tones.
It's also nice to know that Faber Castell is really considerate of these environmental issues as well. For example, the polychromos have a water-based varnish on them, which is very eco-friendly, which is nice. And then the oil-based pencils also are natural oil-based pencils.
Most traditional color pencil kind of stops right now, right here, right? You see that? Most people would say, okay, I'm done, right? No, you're just about halfway now. I want it to look brilliant, rich, deep color. And with these polychromos, you can get rich color, but you just have to keep going.
I had been looking for a pencil that was had a good light-fast rating. And having found these pencils, then I found all kinds of other properties that they have that made them even more desirable. I have a beautiful, the whole set here of 120 colors. And like I said, it's a fabulous range of colors. And it really works well for just about anything I want to mix.
And I'm going to put a layer of the yellow, mix it in with the green, and look and see. You have to look to see this happen, how it brightens the green. And that's what's beautiful about these pencils. You can slowly blend and change your color. And the colors start to really get a rich blending effect, almost like paint at this point. But I'm able to have the control of the pencil to get to this stage. And what's also nice, because it's an oil-based pencil and not a wax-based pencil, it's not going to create this bloom on the surface. One thing I discovered about these pencils just by accident, which I was really happy to discover, is you can actually erase with these pencils in the early stages.
And there's another line, the Albrecht Dürer line of watercolor pencils that uses the same 120 colors. So I can get some of those pencils and lay down a layer first, add water so that I get a watercolor surface, and then I can work on top with the polychromos, and the colors work and blend together.
It's nice if you want to have a slight variation, and that watercolor allows you to do that. But now the water will spread the pigment, and it's just working like any watercolor you might use, but you didn't have to sit there and have a watercolor palette and paint and mix your color and get it just right. You can blend very easily. The pigment is strong and very stable, so it's not going to make these crumbs all over your paper, and it's not going to glob up. It's going to do it nicely, so you get a beautiful blend of color. So I'm going to show you how beautifully these pencils blend to create other colors. Basically, just put down like a ½ inch of yellow, and then start to feather it out and have it fade away to nothing.
They can get strong contrast. And that's, what most artists want to be able to achieve. I mean, I'm a fan of the pencil, but only because I love the pencil, It just works so well for me.
I'm working with the Pitt Pastel pencils, 60 colors, color indexed, color matched with all the other lines of Faber-Castell. They're also securely bonded, SB bonding, which bonds the lead to the pencil all the way down. And they have great, excellent color opacity. Very easy to blend and get sort of even a richer variety of colors than I have in the 60 color set. One of the other features about it is that it gives me the ability to come in and work real detail areas and come in and pop some highlights. If you get a little too rich, then you come back in and you touch it and you blend it in like that. Or you can use a stump in order to do blending with these guys. They're a lot of fun to work with. There's real brilliance. And again, if an area needs to be defined, then I can come back in and work on my dots so that they're sharp. So you can see I'm really covering the paper, which has a lot of tooth, nicely. Draw with the stump, smooth with your finger. Easy to blend. It's a great medium to work in. I'm working with the Pitt Pastel pencils, 60 colors, color indexed, color matched with all the other lines of Faber-Castell. They're also securely bonded to SB bonding, which bonds the lead to the pencil all the way down. And they have great, excellent color opacity. Very, very easy to blend and get sort of even a richer variety of colors than I have in the 60 color set. One of the other features about it is that it gives me the ability to come in and work real detail areas and come in and pop some highlights. If you get a little too rich, then you come back in and you touch it and you blend it in like that. Or you can use a stump in order to do blending with these guys. They're a lot of fun to work with. There's real brilliance. And again, if an area needs to be defined, then I can come back in and work on my dots so that they're sharp. So you can see I'm really covering the paper, which has a lot of tooth, nicely. Draw with the stump, smooth with your finger. Easy to blend. It's a great medium to work in. I'm drawing with the Polychromos, the Faber-Castell Polychromos color pencils. I'm using a couple tones to blend because of the oil-based technology. The Faber-Castell pencils blend very nicely. There's no waxy bloom build-up, so you can see that I can really lay it in there. One of the features about these color pencils, sometimes you have the frustration of pulling out a lead that's not been bonded, but these leads are bonded all the way down the barrel. So I have that reliability when I'm working on them, that they're not going to fall out on me. And the colors in these color pencils are color indexed to all of the other products and color lines of Faber-Castell, so that if I was to do a drawing where I'm doing mixed media, for example on this drawing over here, and I've switched medium in all of these different quadrants right here, the color indexing allows me to duplicate the color from watercolor pencils, the Albertura watercolor pencils, to the pastel, and to the color pencils themselves, where I can maintain color consistency. The light fast pigment is durable and has a high archival quality about it. It's going to be around a long time.
Hi, this is Linda from Blacksburg Bell again. Yesterday, remember, we had picked a subject matter. We learned how to pick a good one. And I showed you how to draw a simple leaf using a black felt tip pen and paper. Today, I think you would like to take this a step further, and I'm going to help you do that. I have some chalk pastels that I'm going to use on this. These are new, but you know, if you have leftovers or whatever, it doesn't matter. But I've got the new ones here. Yum. And I have a paintbrush, because if you add a little bit of water to your chalk pastel after you've applied it to the paper, it looks like a watercolor painting, and it's a little more controllable than watercolor itself, which is a little unruly. I have a jar of water here, and remember, April and I talked about collecting, recycling, reusing. This is a peanut butter jar. I'm sure you recognize it, but it makes a perfect water jar for anything you're going to use, whether it's tempera paint, watercolor, chalk pastel. You can even add water to colored pencils, so it makes a really nice, reusable, earth-friendly water jar. Okay, so let's get started. Today we're going to take our drawing, and remember, we used a black felt tip pen. Don't be alarmed when you add water to this, because your black is going to bleed a little bit, which gives it a more painterly way of looking at a little drawing. So
we're all set
going
to
to paint. We've got the pastels, we've got our drawing, we've got our subject matter, and we have our water. and we have an unruly wire. Okay, I look at the colors here and I see all kinds of fall colors. I see brown, red, orange, and so because these are new, you shouldn't be afraid to break them. It's called breaking them in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a color, and I'm just going to snap that. And you're not going to add a lot of color, you're just going to add some color, not a lot. So I'm going to come in and I am going to get some of this color in here, and I'm going to try and follow the lines, the contour of the leaf, because that's what the color on it does. And I am going to add just a little bit. Now remember, when you add water to chalk pastel, it is not going to cover up any of those marks that you've made. So I'm just going to take my finger and I'm just going to blend it just a little bit. And you notice I haven't covered the whole leaf with color. I've just kind of dusted it. I'm going to add a little bit of brown now, and so I'll just break in this brown. There we go. And I'll add a few details with the brown. So I'm just going to come in, get a little bit of that in there where I think a shadow needs to be. And I see some shadows along the veins here, so I'm going to get that in. And when I paint this, the water is going to activate the black felt tip pen as well. And I think I'll just have a little party here and put some orange in, just for a little bit of fall interest. And you notice I still leave some white showing. That's important. But you don't want to get a whole bunch of pastel on there. You don't want to be able to say, oh, I've got pastel on here. You shouldn't be able to blow it off. There shouldn't be any chalk dust or anything like that. So I'm just going to gently take my finger and I'm going to dust over it. And now I'm ready for the water. So I take my brush and I dip it in the water, but I'm not going to leave it soggy. I don't want it to be so wet that it's going to just smear everything. So what I want to do then is I want to take it and I just want to go over that lightly with this water. And I can come in and maybe I want just a little bit more, squeeze it out, and then come in and just add a little bit to it. And you notice how that gives it just a light color. Let the white sparkle through. And you notice how the black pen is kind of bleeding. Don't let that bother you. And just keep on going. Now I've got something that looks real pretty. And maybe you want just a little bit more on there. You don't want to overwork it, but I see these little things that are flipping up and I really want to accentuate them. So I'm going to come back in and add a little shadow behind this with a little bit of red, just to make that pop out a little bit. So I'm going to get a little bit more water on, and I'm just going to spread that around and kind of accentuate those things that have folded over against the leaf. And now I have something that has contrast. All right, now I've got some warm colors on here. I've got brown, red, orange, and to make that just a little bit more visible, I'm going to take a cool color. I'm going to take some blue perhaps, and I'm just going to take my pastel and I'm going to just lightly put in a little bit of a background. You notice I'm not scrubbing with it, I'm not rubbing real hard, I'm just putting some in to give it a little bit of flavor. I sound like a cook, don't I? And I'm going to just get that kind of smeared around. And I think I want water with that too, so I'm going to add some water. And I'm going to just make that look painterly as well. Come in and get that. And in the background you can use a little bit more water if you want to. But you just want a little bit of essence of color back there to say this is a finished painting now. Voila! A leaf drawing. Now, what I did is I have another drawing here, and I got so impressed with it that I decided that if I put some construction paper behind it, that it would make it pop out even more.
I'm working with the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pens. This is a modern pen with a traditional medium, India ink and pigments. They're light, fast, they're odorless. I can work in closed spaces, nobody's breathing the fumes. They're permanent and they're waterproof. It's a wet medium, and so if I work quickly with it, I get the ability to smear it a little bit, which you can see on this page right here. But then it sets up. So I get a brushy mark, I get a mark that looks somewhat like pastel. It also comes in nibs, which come in extra, super fine, fine, medium. Faber-Castell has come out recently with the big brush, the bigger volume, a bigger chamber, a lot more ink. You can see I'm not really removing or lifting anything, I'm simply adding. I'm drawing on top of existing lines, I'm heating that part of the table up, but I'm not pulling any of the colors off on my point. I can work on vellum with it. It's not going to bleed through the paper. It comes in 48 truly vibrant colors, with the blues, with the reds, with the greens. I have a range of colors. Really versatile, really painterly. So one of the things I really love about them is it combines drawing and painting at the same time. It's a tool that I can take with me that travels very well.